current study examines the development and potential impairment individuals with Cluster A personality disorder may experience when they move towards developing an adult role throughout the years from adolescence to young adulthood. We cover the problems individuals with Cluster A personality disorder, shortened to CLA for the current presentation, experience when transitioning into young adulthood, and how moving towards more adult roles is associated with changes in their symptoms. Individuals with CLA are likely to show their first signs or symptoms in adolescence, where the individual demonstrates behavioural eccentricity, extreme social awareness and discomfort, and non-normative responsiveness. In adolescence, their CLA development can be potentially met with elevated risk, as there are many chances for failure whilst attempting a role change, and alcohol and drugs can have a stronger impact on their lifestyle. Additionally, this time is also related to increased risk of the development of other comorbid personality disorders. Despite the potential for negative outcomes when developing from adolescent roles to those of a young adult, there is also potential for positive outcomes, as the individual's symptoms reduce or are eliminated in prior problem behaviours. There is little information on individuals with CLA in the current literature regarding their transition from adolescence to young adulthood, so we aim to add to this area by examining persons from the general public. Additionally, much of the research focuses on individuals from the Cluster B group of personality disorders. It was hypothesized that individuals with increased CLA symptoms will have increased impairment when transitioning into various adult domains. The first domain of focus is further education. We hypothesized that individuals with increased CLA symptoms will be less interested in advanced education or training after the ages of 17 to 18. Additionally, it was hypothesized that those with high CLA would experience a delay in assuming other adult roles, including a residential role, impairments in career development, and establishing a committed romantic relationship. Finally, we aim to further explore the development of family formation on those with CLA. In addition to the assumption of adult roles, we also hypothesise that less persistence in symptoms will result in individuals assuming adult roles more readily. The current study included 200 young adults for narrative interviews from a large general population longitudinal cohort. 92.5% were white and 52.1% were women. The participants were first assessed through combined youth and mother reports at adolescence at a mean age of 16.5 years and again at a mean age of 22.4 for the entire cohort. The participants were from a range of socio-economic backgrounds, including mixed rural, suburban and urban residences. The interviews typically took about 3 to 5 hours to complete by telephone. Interviewers were intensively trained and supervised. Additionally, the interviewers were completely blind to any previously gathered data. The narrative interviews covered 6 domains of the individual's life, including residence, finance, school, employment or career, romance and family formation. To ensure reliability of construct, measures all interviewers were blindly double-coded, and the scores were average, resulting in greater reliabilities of the transition level variables employed, ranging from 0.98 to 0.91. To ensure greater validity of the study, variables including participant socio-economic status and gender were control variables, done through standardized measures of the individual's maternal and paternal education, occupation and income. The central developmental construct in the study was a transition level scale, notified as TL in the current study, ranging from a scale of 0 to 100, which demonstrated the extent to which the respondent's behaviour took on a fully childlike role with a score of 0, or that of a full adult with a score of 99 measured at a particular point in time. Once again, the transition levels were measured across 5 domains, including residence, finance, employment, romance, and family formation. As reported for the entire cohort, there was a linear decline of CLA symptoms with age. At the age 17, most participants had achieved 20 to 30% of a fully adult role in each domain except for family formation. By age 22, despite a decrease in the cohort, individuals had moved about halfway toward a fully adult role again in every domain but family formation. For the education results, the participants received an odds ratio score of 0.34, which is less than 1.0, indicating that for the linear age trajectory, there was a decline in the proportion of participants in the educational system. For the residential results, on average from the 5-year period, the respondents assumed a residential transition level that was about 1/3 of the way towards a fully adult role, with a TL score of 35.6, and the trajectory showed a 4.65 increase per year. For the romantic results, on average over the 5-year period, respondents were about 1/3 of the way towards a fully romantic role, with an average TL score of 31.5, and the trajectory showed a 3.78 increase per year. Family formation results. Adolescent CLA was positively related to earlier parenting and to an increase in the family formation trajectory over the 5-year period. Auxiliary analysis showed that 75% of those with offspring by age 20 had a higher than average CLA symptom levels in adolescence. and 50% had elevations that were 0.5 standard deviations above the mean. For employment results, on average, employment transition level was about halfway towards an adult role with a transition score of 40.63, and the trajectory included a 2.42 unit increase with each year from 17 to 22. For the financial TL, as expected, there was a substantial increase in financial TL with age. Persistent or increasing CLA from 17 to 22 years old resulted in significantly different results in TL for men and for women, as the normative TL level for men was 3% higher than for women at 17 and 10% at 22. The wariness and lower interpersonal connectedness that individuals with CLA portray is reflected in their lower tolerance for group-oriented settings, such as educational programs. This is reflected in the results as the majority didn't continue education after the age of 19. Due to this lack of group-oriented settings, the individuals weren't able to develop skills in interacting with unfamiliar others. This relates to their problems with adaptation, as both sexes with CLA were at high risk of early parenthood, which then has the potential to restrict access to education, occupational routes, and financial stability. These findings have also been represented in the results, as those with CLA are more likely than the controls to have earlier pregnancies and have low occupation financial success. The hypothesis was supported that individuals with increased CLA symptoms will have increased impairment when transitioning into adult domains. This is evident as greater educational attendance decline was associated with persistent CLA. Adolescent CLA was significantly related to lower levels of romantic TL, persistence in CLA related to lower employment, and finally there was a negative effect on adolescent CLA on financial success. Additionally, the second hypothesis was supported as we found that persisting symptoms did lead to a decrease in adult roles. Despite this, the residential domain rejected the hypothesis, as there was no effects found in accordance with the delay in domain development and to their symptoms. Additionally, adolescent CLA was actually positively related to early parenting. Limitations of the study include that the narrative interviews only covered the first 120 months of the 17 to 27-year-old periods, and therefore the results may not be fully generalizable. Additionally, due to the interview method utilised by the current study, the results may not be able to be compared to those assessments made under clinical judgment. Strengths include how exploring CLA symptoms affected the development of an individual when forming a family, and finding relationships between the development of CLA symptoms and the influence of various domains on each other. Finally, future directions of the current study could be to more frequently measure the symptoms and transition levels in each domain to observe a more detailed development. Additionally, through analysing symptom changes at a closer level, future research could focus on the distinct